Welcome to today's IG Live. I'm so excited about today. We are welcoming Dr. Shefali. Dr. Shefali is going to be with us for the next half an hour. I just finished reading her book, A Radical Awakening, over the last month, and it is so fantastic. Dr. Shefali has done so much work around parenting. We all know the amazing work she does to help parents, children, and she also works with couples and people to help people build relationships. And her book, A Radical Awakening, is so fantastic. I would recommend everyone pick it up because it's all about, really, it's about building conscious relationships, conscious partnerships. And I'm going to read a little bit about her. If you don't know Dr. Shefali, I mean, I know you all do, so it's very exciting. Those of you that are joining us live, I really would please put your questions for Dr. Shefali in the chat. We have 30 minutes with her for her to answer your questions about relationships. She is a 3 times New York Times best-selling author and an amazing speaker. She has written 7 books on conscious parenting and mindful living, praised by Oprah as revolutionary and the best child expert. She's pioneered conscious parenting, a transformative approach that focuses on raising our inner selves to our most authentic potential. With over 2.5 million followers, Dr. Shefali has appeared on Oprah's networks, TEDx. Her TED Talks are fantastic. And she was just talking to us about her institute. And of course, she's got courses on A Radical Awakening. So I'm going to join her to the chat. And I'm just so excited for this time that we have with her. Dr. Shefali!
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us for these next 27 minutes.
I'm so happy to be here with you and your community.
We have a beautiful community, and I know you do too. We're all about really building better relationships so that we can create. My bigger vision is seeing the bigger, better world because of it, right?
Absolutely.
Because the better relationships we have with ourselves and with each other, the better, the more loving world we create.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to be watching the chat for all these questions that come in because I know that are joining us live. You've got questions, so please ask Dr. Shefali. But we were sent in some excellent questions, and we'll go through them. All right.
Ready for you.
So, what practices can I implement to cultivate more trust and vulnerability in my relationship?
So the reason that we typically don't have trust and don't want to be vulnerable is because in our past we were betrayed. And so we've developed this shield, this defense. But as we evolve and grow, we need to learn that that defense that we've created is actually creating great separation. And part of our growth is to understand that we can choose who we trust, choose who we open up to vulnerably. And then if they still drop us and betray us, we will be okay. And so we're trusting ourselves. We're not open and vulnerable so that others can be there for us. We are open and vulnerable because this has become our way of living, because we want to show up like this in the world, because we want to live with our open heart and an awakened heart. So whether the other does show up or not becomes less relevant as we grow into our own healing potential.
I love that. What would you say, Dr. Shefali, about you're dating, right? Because I am an open. I feel like I'm a very open-hearted person. I'm not willing to close my heart. But when it comes to what you're sharing, right? We talked about discernment on the podcast. So like you're going to be taking like baby steps, right? Like you're going to enter into these new dating this new dating scene or with this person with curiosity and asking lots of questions, but you're not going to be giving yourself away so much, right? What do you think about that?
So you're talking about when someone is
Yeah,
dating, what are some rules they can follow, right?
right.
So when you're dating someone, you are using discernment and
Mhm.
trying to weed out the wheat from the chaff, right? who is more a match. And that takes time. You're not going to figure that out in a few dates. So give yourself 6 months to kind of shop around and then go with the people that you genuinely feel a mental, an emotional, a physical connection with. Most of us mistake a physical connection with a mental connection. And we don't realize how important an emotional mental connection is because we're not awakened to that. So most of us just go by our chemical signals, and that often doesn't take us to the right place.
No, absolutely not.
Mhm.
How can I break free from the belief that I'm not worthy of a healthy, loving relationship?
Yeah, well, nothing I say is going to help you in one moment because if you have learned that you are not healthy and worthy to be in a relationship, or you've learned that you only deserve crumbs, then you have to really work on that belief system. It's a lie that you were given in childhood that you are not good enough, and it's not true. And you are worthy of a healthy, functional, stable, loving relationship. But first, if you are not loving of yourself, then you're going to attract people who confirm that, right? If you put yourself down, you're going to find people who put you down. If you are living in fear and lack and a desire to please others, then you're going to find somebody who capitalizes on that and who preys on that. So you're going to have to do this work to love yourself. I mean, it sounds so cliched, but it's the truth. The more you love yourself, the more you will put yourself in places and situations and take yourself out of others that don't match your highest frequency.
Right? Somebody in the chat's asking this: how can I stop sabotaging relationships as soon as it looks like something's good? I think that this is actually something that happens with a lot of people. It's like, it's almost like it's so good. And it's like something, it's like, is it programming, Dr. Shefali, where you're just like, is it too good to be true? Or you're just, yeah.
Yeah, because we're so invested in protecting ourselves from fear that we don't believe that this could be so good. So we protect ourselves from the shoe falling, right? So we're waiting for the next shoe to fall because we've lived our whole life in chaos. So we're not willing to accept that something is good. We're always wary and watchful in PTSD mode and getting defended in case the shoe falls. But then we actually create and sabotage, we create disconnection and sabotage the connection.
And so how can you stop doing that? Is like the awareness piece.
Right. So, to know, to work on it, like go to a coach and go, listen, I have an amazing relationship and I'm constantly testing it. And
Yeah.
I have a syndrome. I think I'm going to mess this up. So then you work with the coach in real time to help you not sabotage. Or tell your partner, listen, I keep wanting to test you because I can't believe you really love me, or I can't believe you're really invested. And then the partner can say, why? And then you can say, because my mother left me, my father left me, my uncle, abused me. You can then understand why it is you're doing it. But most people are not even aware that they are sabotaging the relationship. But when you are at that level of unconsciousness, you have to understand that you are just deeply disconnected from yourself.
Mm.
Most of us are zombies to ourselves. We are not aware of, oh my God, I am creating my own misery. I am doing this to myself. No one is doing this to me. I keep choosing people that are unreliable, that are unlovable, that are unpredictable, because I prefer that than the challenge of being with someone who is asking me to show up fully. Because a deeply loving relationship will force you to show up fully.
Yes.
And that's very triggering. That's very triggering too.
Yeah. I really love that you just shared that about you, even you. Come on, you're a doctor, you're a clinical psychologist who specializes in all of this. You're like, I still struggle. Well, of course, we're human beings. And it's
Yes.
like we're in relationship. And relationships are it's just coming up like over and over, right? All the things.
Over and over. There is no end. You can just become better. You can't fully become perfect or healed. There's no such thing. You're going to constantly build the muscle of awareness of, oh my God, that's me sabotaging again. And that's me forsaking myself again, abandoning myself again. You have to learn in real time.
Wow, I just love that. How can I work through the belief that love always involves sacrifice or losing a part of myself?
Yeah, that is such a lie we women have been told. That of course love involves compromise, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, if your partner wants the AC at 69 and you want it at 72, okay, or Chinese food and Indian food, yes. But when you're being asked to continually abandon who you are, that is that is a big red flag, and you have to really
Mm,
notice it and question why it is that you're willing to be in a relationship where parts of you are being abandoned or denied or suppressed. And you have to really look in the mirror and go, is this relationship worth me giving up those parts? And often the answer is no. No relationship should be so important that you give up vital parts of yourself. You can give up a little part of yourself for the sake of the bigger good, but not big emotional chunks of who you are.
absolutely not. So, how can I reframe my fears about commitment and develop a healthier view of long-term relationships?
Well, frankly, I don't think you need to develop a long term view of anything. You need to just be in the present moment. Ask yourself, is this where I want to be this week? And just that's what really commitment is am I where I need to be here right now? And don't think of 10 years from now because you don't know who you're going to be. So why are you even putting that in your consciousness? And this whole setup of marital contracts messes up our brain because we think we should know who we're going to be 30 years from now. Like, how are you going to know who you're going to be 30 years from now?
Right?
Right? You could be a completely different person. You could want to live in a different country. You could change your religion. You could change your sexuality. You can. So putting yourself in a box over an extended period of time is just naivety and infantile way of thinking. A mature way of thinking is I'm here now, this is where I want to be now, and I can speak for the next few months, or maybe a year. But I don't know who I'm going to be next year, and no one should depend on what I say because I don't know. So when we
Yeah,
get married, we're all going, okay, I want to love you exactly the same way as you need 55 years from now. And the priest is like, yes, you are. And we're all just bullshitting because no one knows who we're going to be. So at least we can say, I think I know. And based on what I think I know now, I'm hoping, but let's not act like we know for sure.
right. Exactly. Okay, so this has to do with your you talk a lot in your book around I'm holding this up because those that haven't read it yet, you have to read this book. It's so fantastic. You differentiate between self-esteem, self-worth, self-love, right? And I think people are getting mixed up with what is the difference between your self-worth, your self-love, and your self-esteem.
Well, I think self love is, often confused as something that is selfish or indulgent, but real self love ultimately is self acceptance, right? And self esteem is a pop psychological phrase, oh, this is not good for me, so it's not good for my self esteem. Worth and self esteem and love cannot come from the outside. And they ultimately come when you accept all of who you are and realize that yourself is actually not a fixed identity. So today, if Robin tells me, I don't think you're smart, and then I begin to believe it, my self esteem is going to feel knocked. But if I understand that who Robin thinks of me does not even, that person that Robin thinks I am doesn't even exist because she's projecting onto me. So she can never really know who I am. So when I have that wisdom that she's projecting who she thinks I am, and she doesn't like that person that she's projecting I am, then I'm not going to be bothered, right? So I can't be affected. So my self esteem is not going to be affected. Our self esteem gets affected because we buy into this idea that my self esteem can be affected. It really cannot be affected.
Right.
Your self acceptance is actually immutable. Once you get there, no one can take it away. But the reason why it goes up and down, today I have good self worth, tomorrow I have bad self worth, is because we've given it to other people to define and to take care of.
We've given our power away in so many,
Yes,
right? We're looking on the outside
yes,
for the love that
yes,
we have to cultivate inside.
yes, exactly. And whenever we do that, we will find ourselves in unhealthy relationships because we are beginning the relationship on a false predication that this person and I are going to make it together. Of course, they would be a lovely companion, but your worth, your self-esteem, your love, your empowerment should not depend on the presence or love of this other person. They can be a delicious icing on your cake, but if you impinge your happiness on them, you're going to break in some way because it's not sustainable.
Exactly. How can I recognize and release old relationship patterns that no longer serve me?
Well, by really putting your mouth where your feelings are, like really putting. So if you're saying these things don't serve me and keep doing the same thing, obviously it serves you, right? So you're
Mm,
lying actually. If something really doesn't serve you, like you have a very rare disease, and if you drink this kind of juice, it's going to kill you, but you keep drinking the juice, that means you don't believe that. So when you fully believe that something is not serving you and you're seeing, just like you would to your own child, that this is harming my child, and you realize, oh my God, this is harming me. Why am I not taking it seriously? Oh, because I don't love myself. Then you will wake up, right? But you can't just keep saying, this is not serving me, this is not serving me, this is not serving me, but keep doing it.
right,
That means you're not believing
right,
it. That means it is serving you.
right. Um, so how do you help people to identify like that's a pattern? That's something that is like not, that is like, that's something that you need to look at
Yeah,
introspectively. Is that the word? No,
yeah,
introspectively.
yes,
And really work on by like with a coach
yeah.
or within yourself.
Everything is a pattern. So, for example,
Okay.
even the question, how do I stop doing something even though I know it's not serving me? Okay, that's a pattern. Just your question is the pattern. The fact that you've asked you're asking this question again is a pattern. So
Right.
why? So the question to ask that person is, why are we asking this question? Oh, because I
Mm.
really want to change my pattern. Why do you want to change your pattern? Because it's not serving me. So why haven't you already changed the pattern? Oh, because I don't know. I need help. Well, if it really wasn't serving you, you would change it. Why haven't you done it? Because that is the pattern, to not change it.
Mm.
The pattern is to not change it and keep complaining about it. That is the
Wow.
pattern.
Wow. That's good. What steps can I take to stop projecting past relationship wounds onto my current partner?
So cute. Well, hopefully your partner will stop you and say, "Back off, woman. You are putting your shit on me." But hopefully you'll see your patterns. You'll be like, he's complaining about the same things that my ex complained about. That sounds familiar. Maybe I need to look at myself. So I think if you're aware, you quickly see your patterns. And it's not about not doing it, it's about telling your partner, listen, I tend to do this. I tend to be the victim. I tend to blame you. I tend to do that. I tend to and own it and go, I don't want to do this anymore. So can you please help me to break out of this pattern? I overreact, I oversleep, I overeat, whatever your pattern is. Tell them that I want your help. But don't pretend that it's you're coming clean. Nobody's coming clean.
Oh my goodness.
Nobody.
I just think this is awesome. Like I love the fact that you said with your partner, it's like, okay, this is my pattern. I'm self-sabotage and I'm still, I'm second
Yes.
guessing. Like, why are you with me? Like
Yes.
you're being very open and vulnerable and being like, this is my shit.
Yes. Like
And it's like,
I've told my partner things like, just know you're never going to be right. You're never going to be right. Okay. So as long as you know that, I'm always going to make you wrong. And if you're okay with that, we can continue.
yeah, yeah. You're just being you're just like owning. This is about the accountability piece that you talk so much about in your book because like you have to take accountability for everything in yourself, right?
Yes. And all of us want to be right, and all of us try to be right. So just own it. Like, yes, I'm going to fight with you tooth and nail to be right.
Right.
Right. So every human has that quality, but we all pretend that no, we're just right. Not that it's a pattern that we want to be right. You see, we act like we're right,
Yes.
not that it's a
This is
pattern.
not a pattern. It's just that I always think I'm right.
I'm right, right. But it's a
That's
pattern that I'm always
absolutely.
right,
Yeah.
right? How come I'm always right? It's a pattern.
Yes.
Am I so smart, smarter than every human being? No, it's a pattern
Yes.
that
Right.
I
I like
bully
that.
the other person and say, I'm right,
Yeah. So somebody in the chat is asking about self-love. You speak about self-love as a transformative journey. How do you think women can start cultivating self-love when they've been conditioned to prioritize others for most of their lives?
Yeah, and that so you've been conditioned, and all this has been put on you, and your role and your job, your sacred job, your duty to yourself is to undo all the
Yeah.
bullshit. Like, I'm not going to do that. So in the next moment, when it's a choice between loving yourself or loving the other, sacrificing yourself or speaking up, you're going to go, oh, my old pattern is telling me I need to shut up, but my new self is going to practice speaking up. You have to change it in the moment, but you have to see it arise in the moment and experiment a new way of being. It's very hard to do, but you have to do it if you want to live an awakened life.
Right. Um, this person is asking, how do I challenge and release the belief that conflict in relationships is always negative?
Correct.
Can you talk to us about conflict?
Yeah, conflict is inevitable. It
Mhm.
is a vital, important ingredient between two thinking adult people. But
Yeah.
the degree to conflict, the degree of the conflict,
Right.
is it an argument? Is it a debate? Or is it a war? Is, of course, on the continuum of unhealthy to healthy.
Mm.
And can you resolve the conflict, right? So the reason why we're scared of conflict is because it was too much drama growing up. It was
Right.
too scary growing up, and there was never any resolution. So when you can teach your children and yourself that no, you can fight, and you can say I disagree and I'm upset with you, and right now I don't want to really talk to you, but I'm going to work it through, and come back in a few days and then talk again and then try again, you will develop a healthy relationship to it. But you have to have a healthy partner to be able to do
You
that.
sure do. I like how you give it grades on, like, the gradient on, yes, is this just like a disagreement, an argument, or up to a war? And if you're in the war stage, that's not the way to have constructive, healthy conflict.
Yes, conflicts are
Yes.
disagreements that remain kind of respectful, and you are allowed to have them. And that is actually going to make you closer.
Yeah.
But all out screaming matches are an indication of severe trauma, and we need to understand that we may not be a match. Or can we work together? Can we heal each other? Can we help each other? But both have to be bought into that.
Yeah. Somebody's asking about, how do you take care of yourself when you are in a relationship with a depressed partner?
Well, you understand that they're on their own journey. It's not you. You cannot fix them, and encourage them to go get help, and then make some choices. You can find ways to sustain yourself if you must stay in the relationship, but you don't have to sacrifice yourself just because they are depressed. That's their journey. And of course, you should care about them and be there for them, but you don't have to overkill yourself to fix them.
Exactly. So, how do I identify when I'm compromising my needs in a relationship due to fear of rejection or abandonment?
Well, it'll show up. It'll show up in stress, in fatigue, in frustration in your body. It will show up. You will be resentful as hell. And you may be passive aggressive about it. You may forget to give them food. You may, leave all their crap lying around. That may be your passive aggressive way of expressing yourself. But every human yearns to be expressive and seen for who it is they are. So when we are constantly suppressed and oppressed, it will show up in a negative
Yes,
way.
it will. Yeah, absolutely. So, when we talk about vulnerability, right? So whether you're in a relationship already or whether you're dating, like, what would you say are some examples of, like, of showing up in a vulnerable way, being vulnerable?
I think the most important key to being vulnerable is owning your shit. Like, I'm in a bad mood right now. I'm being bitchy right now. I am being rude right now. Or I'm feeling scared right now. I'm really unhappy right now. And just owning it, what we tend to do is we don't own it, we project, we blame the other person. And real vulnerability is I'm having a really hard time. I'm struggling with jealousy. I'm feeling really insecure. It has nothing to do with you, it's me, right? That is like real vulnerability.
So if you're so okay, so let's say you are in that place where you're being very vulnerable and you're sharing that. Okay, I'm in a very jealous place. And it's so you're being triggered or like you're feeling that way and it's presenting itself because your partner is like doing something that's making you feel jealous, okay? Okay, so how would you approach this from a very conscious, awake place?
Yes, which no one will ever do. But let's, for this, for the hypothetical situation, we would say something like, I need your help. I need reassurance. I need you to be an adult right now because I am crumbling inside. And if you're not ready, then I will have to go to someone else. So are you ready? You have to give them warning, okay? You have to give them, a heads up. So many times I have couples who tell me, Anna, I had no heads up. Like she never warns me. So men hate that. Men are like, where did this come from? Give me a
Right?
warning. And I'm like, really, can't you just get with the program? And they're like, no, I need a warning.
Yes.
So you try to give them a warning. And then you say, and then you own it. Like, I feel insecure when I see you staring at all the other women in the club. And I don't know what to do about it. Can you help me? Can you reassure me? Because these are my fears and these are my thoughts. And it takes me to when I was in third grade and I didn't feel good enough. So staying with yourself instead of saying, you freaking asshole, you are a lech, and just yelling and screaming at the other person. That's not being vulnerable. That's being, you know, reactive and cruel,
And
really.
so are you asking in that example, okay? Are you then continuing on to ask your partner to like, is there a way that you could be a little bit more discreet than balking at all the beautiful women everywhere?
Yes.
Or no, like you're not asking, like
No, you
what
can.
way can you?
So then the partner, if he was enlightened, which is also going to be a very rare situation, he he can say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. What can I do to help you?" And you can go, you can wear some dark glasses. You can stop doing wear blinders, or can you just tone it down? It helped me out here. And if the partner is truly caring, they should be able to say yes. I'm willing to do that for you. And now, what if the partner is not doing anything and you're this psycho crazy person? Well, then they should be able to tell you, listen, I think it's you, but I'm willing to help. I'm willing to help you, but listen, I was really not looking at anyone. So, but yet the partner can be loving enough to reassure you, right? And so it's always a good technique to ask for what you want. Like, I just need you to listen. I need you to help me. I need you to coach me. I need you to reassure me. I need you to zip it and just listen and agree. What do you need from the person, right? And many men will say, I thought she was asking for help, so I was giving her help. I was like, no, no. When they ask for help, it means you have to just agree.
She said she wanted help, but actually she didn't. She was flying.
Yes. And when she says she wants honest feedback, most likely she doesn't want that honest feedback.
Oh my God.
So you have to, but we women cannot speak in tongue either. We have to
No.
kind of be, so we can say, I don't want honest feedback. Keep your opinions to yourself. Do not judge me. I just need pure reassurance and tell me over and over again that you think I'm beautiful, whatever it is. But to be that's vulnerability. Like, I'm not feeling beautiful. Can you help me feel beautiful? Even though I know it's not your job. That's vulnerability versus yelling at that man for looking at a beautiful woman, right?
Mm. Oh, I really like that. I like how you flipped it. Be like, I want to feel beautiful in your eyes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's being
Well,
really vulnerable.
it sure is. It sure is. Well, thank you, Dr. Shefali, for all of your time today and all of your wisdom and your humor too. We love you and we thank you very much.
Love you too. Thank you guys.
Enjoy the
Bye.
rest of your day. Bye bye.
Bye.